I'm looking at another case that I really hope no business ever experiences. I'm looking at a traffic loss from 2,700 visitors a month down to less than 10 visitors a month. Now, this happened over several years. Very well known company, very established, 25 years experience in the bookkeeping and the accounting space, so small business space. A new website went up, no consideration for the old website. Rankings start to decline instantly. In this case, it happened over a number of years. It was a slow but sure death. I'll quickly show you the graph and then I'll explain what happened and what I'm doing to recover it. Looking at an organic traffic graph from SEMrush, it currently looks like this. Slow but sure death. So, hopefully, long story cut short, the business won a free website. They won a gift. Okay, as far as I can tell, it's a marketing strategy to take on clients. This gift, this free website, came with a 24-month agreement for SEO services. So you get this website for free, but you have to pay for SEO services. Okay? They've been with them for a number of years because at the end of the day, the business is successful, the business is operational, the business is very well successful. They get a lot of word of mouth. It's hard to track where the leads are coming from, where the success is coming from. But looking at the website, it's definitely not the website. It's the brand and the good work that the brand does. So someone running a business just doesn't see this slow but sure decline in their website digital marketing growth. A new website got no consideration for the old URL structure. In other words, the old pages that were getting traffic with Google, they were not rebuilt. That URL structure was completely changed. So in other words, no consideration was taken for the old house with all of the old rooms, the old streets that Google is familiar with, right? And all of that essentially gets reset. Now, in this case, it didn't reset straight away because the pages were somewhat similar. There's only a certain amount of pages that you should build when you're building a website for in the accounting or bookkeeping space. What happened though was this agency rolled through with a new site, gave no admin control to the business owner. So not only did they win a website and sign up to a contract, they're now essentially renting their own website with no admin access. The agency rolled through with a stock theme. It's basically a theme that they've deployed for hundreds of other sites. I'll loop back to that in a second. And started performing meaningless SEO tasks. Now, normally when someone says we're going to be uploading blogs and sending backlinks, that's generally good. But not when those blogs are syndicated across hundreds of websites, and not when those blogs are actually gathered from news articles. So there's lots of providers that will simply syndicate news article blogs onto your website. Now, that might be okay for a newsletter send out where you send out updates and news about things happening on the market, the ATO, that kind of stuff on your industry. That's fine. But that stuff being loaded onto your website can actually do quite a lot of damaged. I speak good England on a Saturday morning. So essentially what's happening is every week a quite rubbish piece of content goes up onto hundreds of websites. That content is copied from somewhere like ATO, Vanguard, or one of the other industry bodies that they have a relationship with. And so what Google is seeing is essentially duplicated, syndicated piece of content that's now beginning to blow out the index, meaning these pages are added to the website on a weekly basis. And slowly Google is starting to see more and more what I call shit pages, thin pages, useless pages. And these days you want to show a dense diamond piece of work to Google. You want every page to be useful. You want every page to have a reason for being there, whether it's proving that we're trustworthy on the topic, meaning guide like blog, FAQs and things like that. A page that is 300 words or 200 words of text with tiny images. These images were smaller than a Chinese cucumber. That's not good. A lot of old tactics were still being executed with this website. That kind of stuff may have worked 10 or 15 years ago, just a thin basic blog, especially if the blog was on a topic that no one had created a blog about. That potentially can do some good. When someone says we are adding blogs to the website and we're doing things on a monthly basis, that's generally a good thing. The business owner doesn't know what they don't know. But slowly but surely, the more of this junk that went up, the more the website index gets blown up, the more Google starts to be like, you know what, I don't want to show these pages. So their pages are constantly jumping in and out of index while it's considering other websites. And eventually the index is where we're at like 500 pages now, which is absolutely ridiculous. On top of that, there were so many junk pages that were just useless. So really thin pages. I can't give you examples now, but essentially I'm sitting here right now going through page by page and trying to assess which page do have some SEO juice that I'd like to retain. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm going to cut out 90% of that junk with this new website, and I'm going to identify the few pages that do have a little bit of SEO maturity, do have a little bit of SEO juice, I call it, that it will either be rebuilt or that juice will be redirected. In essence, what should have happened, in 2014, each page that was getting traffic and is mature and has built trust with Google should have either been rebuilt or a 301 redirection set up to say, hey, Mr. Google, this old page is now here. Here's a similar page. For example, I'm wearing an MYOB t-shirt. There are heaps of pages on my resources about MYOB, blah, 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 blah. That stuff needs to go, but I will be redirecting any kind of maturity, any kind of SEO juice that those pages have. Maybe those pages being linked to somewhere from the internet. I can see they're not, but hypothetically they might be. So I wouldn't want someone landing on that link to hit a dead page. So they're going to be redirected to the most similar page, which is going to be still about MYOB. That's still going to be on the site. Just instead of there being 30 pages that are thin, there might be 2 or 3 that are of high quality. And a lot of that stuff, there were literally pages where how to make an invoice in MYOB Essentials. And like you land on that page and it's just got an embedded video from MYOB. The video is ancient. This page serves no purpose. So it's just a cleanup that the website needed. All of these years of the so-called SEO, rankings are dropping every month. Traffic is dropping every month. Where was the SEO agency aside from sending the 12-month renewal at the end of the 12 months? Where was the SEO agency when the website got hacked and it had pharmaceutical and all sorts of drug Cialis pages that really put the nail in the coffin? That was just completely left there. And until we sounded the alarm, nothing would have been done about it. There's a story about a established brand. I'm very confident we'll be able to get the hockey stick coming back up, because the domain, I really hope, hasn't had some dark magic on it after the hacking. I'm worried that the hack stuff was there for maybe too long. Anyhow, we're going to do what we always do. We're going to plan the new URL structure, and I've been sitting here for hours. I want to extract whatever I possibly can from this website that's getting less than 10 visitors a month now. I used to get 3,000 visitors a month. Planning out a new URL structure, new pages, and planning out a project of trust. It means we're going to load things onto this website that are going to regain trust with Google. So hopefully Google can return the traffic and then some, climb the ranks. This is going to be a long game. This is going to take possibly at least over a year. I reckon it's going to be about 7 or 8 months before Google properly react and start to soak in the new website that we'll create. Every month we're going to be sending high quality, relevant backlinks to the website coming from city orientated websites. We're going to have lots of guide-like blogs on these topics, on industry topics, on supporting niche topics about business, small business, accounting, bookkeeping. And I'm confident, as always, that we'll be able to turn this around. Hopefully this has been a helpful story to someone. Bye-bye. So in a nutshell, established business, 25 years old, running successfully. Yes, they had an old website. Yes, they were due for a website rebuild. I think there was like a business handover. The business was sold, passed over hands, and somehow this competition came up and they were chosen. In a nutshell, the business owner trusts. It looks like an established marketing agency. They look like they're quite big. So you have trust that these guys have the best intentions. These guys just rolled in with their internal systems and processes, their things that they sell. It's wild that it could even be branded as SEO. So even though the website was completely free, those costs were factored in for the several years of SEO that they built. The site was not only hosted with them, but they had full admin control and gave very limited control to the business owner. On top of that, the site was then hacked, and that was only picked up by the business owner, by us. Yeah, it's wild that this happens, but at the end of the day, the business owner's busy working on the business, delivering the service, getting word of mouth referrals. A lot of the time, the business owner doesn't have the analytics or the numbers on the site and what the site is actually bringing in. As far as I'm concerned, that's the job of the marketing agency to say, hey, this month, this happened. The last few months, this happened. This is the lead count. They should be easily tracked via the web form, via call tracking, via Google Ads, right? You can easily track those things. Those conversations just didn't happen. The only conversations that did happen when the yearly invoice landed. What's difficult is this agency has so much control over the website. Over all of these years, no one had the hard conversation. No one was able to look at this graph and have the hard conversation with the client. So now I have to do the hard work, which is what we're built for. And I'm actually really excited, as I really enjoy what I do. And I'm excited to share this particular graph when it starts to hockey stick in the right direction. Talk soon. So for anyone that already has an established website, it's somewhat mature, but it's ugly. So you're thinking about rebuilding it. Make sure you understand which pages are getting traffic. Make sure you understand which pages are ranking on Google. If you're not sure how to do that, Google it. Otherwise, hit someone up like me or any other SEO, anyone that understands basics of Google rankings, right? If you are going to rebuild it yourself, my suggestion is try keep those pages as similar as possible. You can update the looks, you can update the colors, the branding, keep the text. You want to aim to have the keyword density similar to what you had before. So if you had accountant Melbourne in there 15 times, try not to drop that density of keywords to 2 times or no times. You basically, when Google visits that new page, you don't want to shock them, right? Especially you don't want them to see a dead page. Worst case, at least redirect that page. So tell Google, hey, we used to have this page about Egyptian snow shovels here. Here is the most similar page about Egyptian snow shovels. So we don't sell Egyptian snow shovels, but here is a page that's similar to shovels. Maybe it's similar to sand. So find the most relevant page. The last thing you want Google to hit is a dead end and dead wall, because when Google hits that dead end, dead wall, it doesn't want users to hit that dead end, dead wall, right? Because it knows that if someone comes from Google and hits that dead end, that's a bad experience. Google does not want to deliver bad experiences. Otherwise, people are going to use other platforms. So it's not good, right? You can rebuild the page. Try keep it as similar as possible. Yes, you can update the text. Yes, you can add new text. Just try not to make the change for the robot to be a shocking change. The more of a change, the more the rankings are going to fluctuate. They're going to fluctuate either way, right? You're probably going to roll in with some new pages. You're going to probably roll in with a new theme. You might be changing CMS from Wix to Weebly to Squarespace to WordPress, whatever, right? Any kind of new website, there will be those fluctuations. So with every single client campaign, it doesn't matter how low they rank, how high they rank, whenever I'm selling or I'm talking about a new website construction, I always prepare them for the fact that whatever rankings they are ranking for can drop, and whatever rankings they're not ranking for can increase, right? Some websites are exact match domains. Some websites are old, ancient, ugly, definitely need to be rebuilt, but they're ranking first for some sort of a key term, or they're ranking second, and the business owner's always happy, oh, I'm ranking really well. Good. The expectation is, guess what? When you do roll in with a new site, chances are those rankings may drop. If you're in first position, there's only one way to go. It's second, third, fourth. If we're heading in the right direction, though, if we are doing the things that we know Google loves and appreciates and soaks in, things like on-page SEO, off-page SEO, speed, responsiveness, keyword density, and things like that, as well as user experience where people are more likely to scroll down the page, read reviews, sit and watch that video. So these are all things that you generally should have on a website. Then it's safe to say those rankings will restore. If anything, they should go up, as long as we're doing it better than the competitors.